All right, average Jocks fans. So this week, you can tell we are not in Justin's basement. Um, Justin has decided to walk away for a little bit, so I'll be running the show solo. In the meantime, I'm going to have a guest of some guest co-hosts come on for the next little bit. So today it's kind of an adjustment period episode, more so than a guest episode. And we're going to have our first guest co-host join me today, Adam Laderoute. So welcome, Adam.
How's it going, Compo? Thanks for having me.
No problem, brother. It's a pleasure to have you on. I've always enjoyed talking sports with you. So having you as the first guest co-host, it seems like a natural fit to me.
I feel like it kind of worked out great because, we were supposed to hang out yesterday and you end up having to do something. And I wake up to a text message that says, fuck, and I had to figure out what that was about. But then, yeah, man, I'm happy to help out. I
So,
can't.
so just to give a little context to what that text was, I actually did an interview yesterday with Mark Dumont from Montreal Hockey Now, and former media guy for the Montreal Canadiens, and hit record. I wasn't a rookie. I hit record, and whatever. But when you end your recording, you have to wait whatever amount of time for Zoom to transfer the file to your computer. And I did not. I just exited right away. So I lost the hour plus interview that I did with this guy. I texted Mark Zimon right away and I'm like, Mark, I'm an idiot. And he's all like, you know what? At least it was with me and not somebody else. And I'm like, well, no, Mark, like you're a good guest. He's like, well, I did it with a like multi-cup winner where I did the same. So I'm like, you know what? Yeah, if we're playing the who fucked up bigger in this sense, Mark definitely took the cake. But I'm just glad I have a buddy that's willing to hop on and talk some hockey with me to get an episode out this week, and uh, we'll figure it out. We'll have a good time. We'll talk hockey.
It's all about having a good time, my friend.
All right. So obviously your first time on the show. Have you been on a podcast before?
Absolutely not. Who would invite me on their
I
podcast?
don't know. I don't know. I said the same thing whenever Justin approached me and he's all like, "Hey, you want to do a podcast?" And I'm like, "Who the fuck's gonna want to listen to me? Why? I have a face to radio." So that's why we didn't do any video for the first few episodes. And then people are like, "We want to see what you look like." And I'm like, be careful what you wish for. Um, but here we are. And
Yeah,
now I'm doing it alone.
you should have dressed up in full Shrek outfits first episode.
Yeah, I mean, we discussed. We're all like, yeah, we'll do like suits and stuff, and then the room that we're recording in is actually Justin's basement slash like video game room slash like utility kind of thing. So it was super hot in this room, and I was just constantly sweating. So we ditched the suit idea pretty fucking quick.
Yeah,
Um, But now in the comfort of my own home, um, you know, I'm wearing shorts right now, so I only had to worry
me
about
too.
dressing up my upper body. So, um, and we're laughing. So we'll get into some of the hockey stuff. Uh, we won't touch World Juniors because they're playing right now, so we'll probably finish with them. But let's start with the Spengler Cup. You texted me earlier, and I just want to quote what you said. What an embarrassing performance by Canada. And I said, save it for tonight. So
Yeah.
I want to hear what your expectations were for a team that was led by Montreal superstar David Desharnais.
I mean, first I was surprised he was even team captain. Like I get he's been playing for them for like the last, I don't know, I think like 4 or 5 years he's been a part of the team in Canada for Canada going to the Spengler Cup. But like I was watching some of the games and just like Brett Connolly had four of our first four goals of the tournament. Nobody else scored until today, and I don't even know who scored. But like it was just it just goes to show European hockey's get better.
Oh, for sure. And I'm just pulling up the roster here now. Whew, yikes. Not, I mean, Canada's roster. I'll name you some of the guys. Daniel Carr, another product of the Montreal Canadiens.
Hmm.
Woo.
Yeah,
Um, Philip Michael Devos, never heard of him. Cody Eakin, former NHL player, so that's okay. But
yeah.
he was a bottom six guy his entire career. Jonathan Ang, never heard of him. Riley Nash, another bottom six guy. You can never have too many of those on Team Canada. Um, Chris Bennett, Alan Quinn, not sure how you say it. Don't really care. You didn't make the show. Corey Emerton. You got Daniel Winnick. I thought he was retired, but apparently he's still playing. Maybe he just comes out once a year for this tournament.
And that's why Canada's so dog shit.
Yeah, Brandon Perlini, another bottom six hero. Pixie David Desharnais. You know what? Most of these guys get ticket packets for their family. I'm pretty sure David Desharnais brought Michel Therrien with him.
I mean, that's him or Max Pacioretty, one of the
Yeah,
two.
yeah. Max is nursing an injury right now. They probably both went over. You
Yeah.
got Tyler Ennis, who Ottawa didn't give him a league min contract this year for the third year in a row. Um, Colton Sevier, another bottom six guy. Chris Didomenico. I mean, I remember him in like '07, '08 with the Leafs. I think he also
Hmm.
did like a stint with the Sens a bit. You mentioned Brett Connolly, which was probably the best player on paper for them. Thomas Gregoire, never heard of you.
Yeah.
Jerome Leduc, never heard of you. Toby Bisson, never heard of you. A couple of Habs prospects, Josh Brook and Nicholas Bonnet on defense. I mean, I know Laval Rockets are having a dog shit year this year, but if they're able to give up two D men to go to this tournament,
Like, it's just that those, even those names that you're naming, those guys, like, like you said, like, bottom six guys that play maybe like, let's say, like 9, 10 minutes a game,
yeah,
and it's like still think that they would do some sort of damage. But I just watching Canada play, I understand they don't play together all year, and
yeah.
most of these teams do, right? Because like HC Davos and all these guys play in the European League, so
I mean, they also had Travis Green behind the bench, which um I was actually talking, and it's a shame that I can't reference the Mark Dumo interview I did yesterday because we were just talking about how Travis Green really just you've never seen him smile, you never really seen him get excited, and it's like, how does this guy motivate a team? Well, I'll tell you right now, obviously he doesn't because they didn't win a game at the Spengler Cup. But they do have an interesting assistant coach on the bench in Scott Niedermayer. I would have maybe even just thrown him in as head coach. I mean, Ray Whitney was also part of that kind of coaching crew. Andrew Ebbett, Daniel Briere, Shane Doan. Like, I'm pretty sure I would have preferred any of those guys in the dressing room over Travis Green. Um,
I mean, I would have had probably like three of those four guys on the ice compared to some of the guys this year
Yeah,
that are
that's fair. That's fair.
Canada.
I'm sure we would have probably maybe won one game with those guys.
At least, at least.
But like even looking at like the other teams in this division, like going through Sparta's team, like they have a couple former NHLers, like Dominic Simone, who played in Pittsburgh, Roman Horak, who hasn't been in the NHL for years, Vladimir Sabatka, who was a bottom six when he left the NHL.
Mhm.
Um, Michael Kempney, who is like bottom pairing for Washington last time he played, I believe. Goaltenders, they got fuck all. HC Davos was the other team in their division. I mean,
Home team, right?
home team, but I mean, like, I'm going through, like, there's nobody that I recognize having played a game. Maybe there's prospects in there, but yikes. I mean, even in the other division, oh, Finland apparently doesn't have a roster in on Helsinki's team.
See, like that's what I
Okay.
was saying. It's just some of these teams they play together, right? So
I mean, there's Quentin Howden, who's Canadian, playing on the or a bro. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I don't really care.
Yeah.
Um, but just like reading through these names, like it's not like impressive teams, and like I said, it's not that Canada's super great. Oh, Jonas Enroth made an appearance. That's good. Um, yeah, they don't have the rosters for two of the other three, but um, I don't know. You always expect more from Canada in international tournaments. I know it's a Spengler Cup, and guys are probably like, "Who gives a shit?" But at the same time, like, do better. I don't know. Like, there's a reason
Like,
Travis Green isn't coaching in the NHL right now, and I get
mhm.
it's not like they're taking an NHL coach from a team and they're like, "Hey, can you come be at this B level tournament?" Um,
Yeah.
like no, but I feel like if your options are Travis Green or somebody off the board, I'm probably picking somebody off the board.
Like I think also too, like you said, Travis Green doesn't seem the type of guy that's gonna run a team that's gonna want to win. If he's not smiling, doing nothing, not being, charismatic with the guys, like nowadays it's not about like you gotta be if you're not a good coach with the players, like it's not gonna happen. Tortorella tried to do it for years and his teams were just god awful.
Hey, don't say anything bad about Torts. Great guy.
He could be the nicest guy on off the ice, but I just don't like the way he coaches.
Um, so let's talk about a Canadian right now who's a healthy scratch for one of Torts' former teams, Alexis Lafreniere. Um, in the last 5 games, he has 3 points and he's a +1. He's a healthy scratch tonight. Um, personally, I don't get it. I think there's other people to take out. I also feel like New York hasn't used him the way that I would, but there's a reason that Gerard Gallant's a coach in the NHL, and I'm sitting in my living room talking to you. Um, but but at the end of the day, like I don't know, like to me that's a strange move. 3 points in the last 5 games. I'm pretty sure if I went through the Rangers depth chart, um, there's guys that are performing worse that could be taken out as a healthy scratch. I'm not really sure what the message is here. Um, I mean, chalk this up to another strange scratching, like Bruce Boudreau scratching Brock Besser. Um, I don't know. What do you think about what's your take on scratching a first of all a first overall pick, a player that has potential to play in your top six if put in the right position? Like to me, this is a dumb move. Like if you're looking to instill confidence or get a player going, especially a player that's produced 3 points in the last 5 games, healthy scratch probably isn't the way to go.
No, I think I honestly don't even know what this message is sending. Like the guy they're bringing in has like I think I was looking at his stats. It was like 32 games. He's got like 5 assists. The guy that's taking his place tonight, and I don't understand what you're trying to shake up Lafreniere. I don't know. He's like you said, he's a great hockey player. He's doing what he's doing. It's just he's not being utilized the way he should be.
Yeah, and I don't get it. Like you were mentioning, like I mean, top line Chris Kreider's has been a Jad Capel Caco. All right. Second line Artemi Panarin, Vincent Trocheck, Barclay Goodrow. All right, I'd probably rather Alexis Lafreniere on that second line over Barclay Goodrow. Third line, Vitaly Krastov, um, Philip Schittle, Julian Gauthier, and fourth line, Sammy Blais, Johnny Brozinski, and Jimmy Vesey. I mean,
Jesus.
I'd take Lafreniere over Goudreau, over Gauthier, over Krastov, over Brodzinski. Um, I mean, Jimmy Vesey's having a decent year, and I mean, I think Sammy Blais is a great player, but I don't know. I just there's other guys that I'd be taking out of this lineup before Alexis Lafreniere. So kind of a head scratcher for me. I guess we'll see if it pays off. If it does,
good on
Gerard,
Gallant, but if it
yeah,
doesn't,
Gerard
like,
Gallant looks
yeah,
like a genius. If it doesn't, um, I mean, I guess they're no further ahead. I don't know. I just think it's
like
dumb.
I think it is. To me, why put a kid that's he's a great hockey player. Like I don't understand why you're gonna take him off the ice to put a guy in that's hasn't done anything for this team. And like you said, Lafreniere's got what 3 points in the last 5 games. So I don't know.
I just like when I put in Lafreniere's name on Google, the first few things that have popped up are all rumors of um being traded. And I mean, you see like the one time Lafreniere, Capo Caco, Vitaly Krasnov were all young players, and I guess you could add another young player that they traded away. I believe it was last season or the season before, in Elias Anderson to the Kings. Where what are the Rangers doing wrong to have so many top? I'm not even going to say top number because I don't know where Elias Anderson was drafted, but guys in the first round, um, not pan out. Like I don't get it. Um, Especially now having like I'm a big fan of kind of this hockey culture change. Like you see Montreal do it, bringing in St. Louis and Kent Hughes and Jeff Gordon. And Jeff Gordon was there in New York before Chris Jury took over. But I'm also a fan of Chris Jury going in. Like, what is happening in this development that these players aren't panning out? Like, I'm not getting, especially swing on the miss once in a first round guy, whatever. Capo Caco was was he second overall? Or is he
I
is he
think
third?
yeah, it was in the top three. I know that. I can't
So
exactly
so
remember,
you
but
have Lafreniere went first overall. You have Capo Caco's the top three, and then two other first round picks that don't pan out. And it's like at some point you got to talk it to the development. Is it just not the right coaches in there? Is there not the right veterans in the locker room? I mean, I'm not a fan of Chris Kreider, but he seems to be a fan favorite teammates. Like there's a reason why you stick around with one team for so long. You're obviously decent in the dressing room. Um, but I don't know, like to swing and miss on four guys, kind of hard to believe that it's a player issue and not a personnel issue. Um, because it doesn't make sense to me. And if you look at their best players besides Chris Kreider, Mika Zibanejad developed by the Ottawa Senators.
mhm.
Artemi Panarin came over as an unrestricted free agent from the Chicago Blackhawks. And I don't even want to credit the Blackhawks with his development because he came over as an undrafted player from Europe. So, they haven't developed their two best players. Jacob Trouba, where does he come from? Winnipeg. Adam Fox, college player that didn't want to sign in what, Carolina? Or no, it started in Calgary, also didn't want to sign in Carolina, then got traded to New York. So you can't even credit them with developing him because he came in as again a UFA or an RFA, whatever, from two other teams after having played X amount of years in college. So they're not getting him as an 18-year-old. So to me, they're like none of these Rangers big names are developed guys that they've brought up through their system. And to me, that's, I mean, other than Chris Kreider, and that's kind of scary because the Rangers are considered a powerhouse. And they always seem to be in on the big names, obviously the draw to the Big Apple and the things to do and people wanting to go to that city. But at some point, like you almost don't want to be drafted there and just go there as a free agent because their development doesn't seem to be working.
Yeah, and and to me, a lot of the teams are like this nowadays. I don't think it's just the Rangers. I think there's a lot of teams that have talent that they don't have either a good development system or, like you said, whatever is going on that we don't know about. And for the Rangers to have that many chances to make such great players, and they've obviously swung and a miss several times, and how Lafreniere's kind of getting the butt end of it by being like, hey, everyone's not playing good, you have to sit. But at the same time, Aren't the Rangers still at the top of the division? Like, aren't they still up there?
Yeah, they're definitely in a playoff spot. Excuse me, just pulling up the standings for you now. Actually, they're not. That is a lie.
Oh,
I lied.
well, there we go. I lied as
Carol
well.
in the Metropolitan, Carolina is in first, New Jersey in second behind. Um, I wish TSN had thrown up points. It just games, plays, wins, losses, OT. I'm not doing the math. So Carolina,
There you go.
New Jersey, Pittsburgh, Washington is in fourth, and then the Rangers in fifth.
Yeah, the Rangers have 43 points.
And Washington's at what?
44. Pittsburgh's at 44. The Devils are
Okay.
at 46,
So
and
so
Hurricanes are at
they're
52.
they're sniffing around. They're there. They're not out of it.
Yeah, no.
Which I don't think they would be, but I mean New Jersey, it's always, they say where you are in the standings going into the Christmas break is normally a tell of who makes the playoffs. But I think many would say that New Jersey has punched above their weight class in the first half of the season. I really enjoyed watching them play. I would like to see them continue this kind of Cinderella run. Um, but I mean, I would rather see the Rangers in the playoffs than the Pittsburgh Penguins. I mean, Sidney Crosby's
Yeah,
won 3 cups, Malkin's won 3 cups, Letang's won 3 cups. I'm kind of over it now. Um,
yeah,
Same with Washington. I mean, Ovi won his cup. Whatever, score as
yeah.
many goals as you
Go for the
can to
record.
to to
Yeah,
beat Gretzky. Like play shit defensively again and just worry about goals. I just want the Rangers because I feel like they have a fun team to watch and they got big name guys, regardless if they didn't develop them. And I
yeah.
love watching Shesterkin, and I think New Jersey, Carolina, the Rangers, and I mean, I'd prefer two teams from the Metro bring up the wild card. Um, but sorry, did I say two teams from the Metro? I meant two teams from the Atlantic.
Yeah, you said the
I'd
Metro.
like
Yeah,
I'd like to see Buffalo get in the playoffs.
yeah, but they're just my God. I don't know what's going on in Buffalo either.
There's a lot going on
You
in
look,
Buffalo. So it's
yeah,
all the
like
snow.
they win 3 games in a row and then they get pumped 3 games in a row. It's like it's. I mean, we can't say much. Montreal's
Well,
awful.
I mean, we can't say much to that aspect, but I mean, we're also not expecting Montreal to do anything, and it's about time that the
Oh
Sens
God,
pass them in the standings. Um, Christ, they're trying to tank here, and everybody else is also like losing, and it's like, fuck, do your
yeah,
job, win a game.
like win games. Yeah, exactly.
Um, but the Sabres, like, I love watching Tage Thompson. Rasmus Dahlin has been unreal all year. Jeff Skinner seems to be having a rebound. Alex Tuck is fun to watch. Like, I think just their issue is the depth on defense, and obviously Craig Anderson was a good goalie at 41 years old.
Yeah,
Somebody's got
not
to
the guy.
bring him some retirement home pamphlets and say, listen here, Craig, um, time to have this tough decision. I mean, fuck, his kids are probably going to be drafted next year. I don't like the guy's old. I like him.
Yeah,
I liked him. He did well in
me too.
Ottawa. He did well in Colorado. I think he holds a couple records in Ottawa for either most games played or most wins or something as a goalie or shutouts. He owns a couple records, but like they badass. Like time to
Yeah,
move
get out
on.
of here. Yeah, figure it
Um,
out.
and I mean, they bring in, which I thought was dumb because they weren't expecting. I'm not gonna try and butcher his name, Uko Pekalunen or whatever the fuck his name is,
Oh,
to make the team this year. Um, so they brought in Cormier or I'm gonna look up his name. This guy's name.
I'm pretty.
I should get this guy's name. Um, the guy from Winnipeg last year. Um,
Cormier. Yeah,
yeah,
Eric Cormier, but he's
Eric
hurt.
Cormier. Yeah, whatever. But they brought
Yeah, no,
him and Anderson in to be their 1-2. Like Kim Pagula here and the Pagula family. What are you guys doing?
yeah,
Like you
yeah.
finally got the
That
Bills on
goalie's.
track, and now
Yeah,
you're just
wow.
like,
Yeah,
hey. yeah, let's give 41-year-old Craig Anderson some money. And it's
Well, I
like,
mean, I
did Craig Anderson have Jack Johnson handle his finances? Like, why is he still playing?
like
Like, I don't know.
I don't know.
It's in to Eric Cormier, like
Yeah,
he's a third goalie in my opinion. Like, I don't know, like they were planning on these two splitting, and then like Ukko Pekkalunen coming in next year. I don't know, but I think even that guy's proven he's not ready. So if they're planning on keeping him, let the other two go, and I would first thing you do when free agency opens is you fucking try and get a goaltender. I mean, Jake Allen is a step up to the guys they got going on right now.
oh
Um,
yeah, and I don't think Allen stays either.
I don't
I think
mind. I I get the value of having Jake Allen around,
yeah,
but for what we're trying to do right now, we don't need Jake Allen around. Um,
no,
I mean, Boston might be in a situation that they can shed a goaltender. I mean, maybe Buffalo looks to reacquire Linus Ullmark.
oh my
Um,
god,
because I don't think Boston is getting rid of Jeremy Swayman. I mean, Carolina's in a goaltender that they have, or sorry, in a situation they have three goaltenders with that Peter. I'm gonna try and say his last name. Their new guy, Antti Ranta, and then Frederick Anderson. When Anderson comes back from injury, that's a good issue to have. Is three good goaltenders, but you can afford to move one, and you move him outside of your division. Yeah, it's the same conference, but whatever. Um, Send one of those boys to Buffalo, not bad. If Florida's looking to either shed Bobrovsky or Spencer Knight, I'm sure Buffalo's in contention for that as well. Um, I don't know. Like there's definitely options out there. I mean, San Jose surprisingly is in a situation where they're looking to rebuild, keep Reimer, maybe move Capo Kakinen. Um,
mm,
you know, Anaheim's in a situation where they have Joel Eriksson X brother, I think his name is Ollie Eriksson Ek, behind or backing up John Gibson right now because I believe Anthony Stolars is hurt. But they also have Lucas Dostal, so maybe that's an option for them. But Buffalo's got to figure it out. I'm not going to do all the work there for Kevin Adams, but I don't know. There's people out there, and you got to get on it, figure it out.
well, and the thing is, though, they got to stop getting band-aids. They got to get a guy that can fill the hole behind the net. They can't just get another Craig Anderson
What's
and
the thing?
some guy to back him up.
Yeah, they're just looking like who's the oldest guy we can sign, just as a character signing.
Yeah, it's just
It's why
embarrassing.
they kept
I hate when
Ron
teams do
Perlman
that.
around on Sons of Anarchy for so long. They needed an old, token character guy to be on the team. Um, so let's hop into sorry, I'm just pulling up my notes. Let's look at some more of the NHL standings here. I'm surprised with how well the Seattle Kraken have done, especially in
Hmm.
that Pacific Division. Um, so I think maybe Vancouver and Seattle swapped my predictions because I thought Vancouver was going to take a step forward this year, and they've taken a couple back. Edmonton just still, I don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're just wasting Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid. Um,
Every year.
I like the moves that they've done, signing Evander Kane and Zach Hyman. Those are important guys because not everybody can play with superstar players. It takes tough skin and it takes wide shoulders to play with guys that are two, three, four steps ahead of everybody else mentally in where they can see the game. That they need to figure out their defense situation. Darnell Nurse is a three or four guy on any other team in the league, so the fact that he's eating up number one minutes, Evan Bouchard, same thing. He's a second pairing guy playing first pairing minutes. Like, and then after that, it's our buddy Brett Kulak from the Canadians.
Oh God.
And then after that, it's really starting to hurt. And it's like, what are you doing? Like Brett Kulak was a 6'7" guy, and now he's second
Cody
pairing.
Cece. Cody Cece's there too.
Oh yeah, our buddy Cody Chechi.
Yeah, God,
Yeah,
7 points.
yeah, good for him. Good for him.
Yeah.
Great smile. Not much of a hockey player.
No. But
But
like even that, they have three goalies that play there too, but Mike Smith's not playing. But
and it's scary because Mike Smith might be the best option.
like, you know what I mean? And again, just like teams with three goalies, there's a lot of teams that should have three goalies. They either rotate them or one's hurt. Like it's
Jack Campbell though, I feel like you knew he was a bust because I mean Toronto's pretty much an Eastern Conference All-Star team.
yeah,
Um,
it's not fair. I hate to say it, but
it doesn't make sense, and eventually the cap will catch up with them. And I think it'll be this off season. But like Jack Campbell was punching above his weight. I think just like Matt Murray's punching above his weight right now.
God, that guy's
And
ugly.
yeah, yeah, it's an unfortunate looking guy. But but you know what? He's a millionaire and he's playing in the NHL. And once again,
Yeah,
I'm sitting here talking to you.
again though, but it's like it's I don't know with like back with Edmonton, like you know you get rid of McDavid and Draisaitl, like you know there goes 100 points already this season, score like points scored because McDavid's got 50 points.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's there's two big things with the Oilers, and it's secondary scoring because it's all their goals come generated from the same two guys, and if they play on the same line, it comes from the same one line. So they need secondary scoring, and they need defense. They need another defense. I mean, for the longest time, everybody thought it was Oscar Clefbaum. He looks like he has a career-ending injury.
Yeah,
Like they need to do something, and it's scary. Like they're another team that have a couple young guys, and it seems like they've never, other than Connor McDavid, and I mean he is a fucking freak of
yeah.
like you would have to be like I don't even know how bad you would have to be to screw up Connor McDavid's development. Or same with Leon Draisaitl, like they are two exceptions to this conversation just because of their raw natural talent. But it feels like Taylor Hall missed the mark whenever he was in Edmonton.
Oh, yeah.
Jordan Eberle seemed to miss the mark when he was in Edmonton. Nugent Hopkins, I don't think lived up to what his hype was.
No, he's kind
Jesse,
of just he's coasting right now.
yeah, Jesse Puljujarvi, same thing. And it's kind of like this team again missed the mark on some pretty big names that had some pretty high ceilings.
Nail
And
Yakupov.
it fuck Nail Yakupov, probably the biggest NHL bust since Patrick Stefan being taken first overall.
Oh God, yeah. Remember that.
But it's scary. And I mean, you look in like Edmonton's pipeline of defense that are coming up. You have Philip Broberg. You have what's the French kid's name? I think it's Xavier. Um, I'll look it up. But God, what's his name? I can picture his face right now. But God, where is it? But oh God, I just Googled Edmonton Oilers defense, and there's some good names that have come up that they've moved, like Ethan Bear. Why did you trade
Yeah,
him?
yeah. Why did
You
they get
got
rid of
you
him?
got Warren Fogle, which is a bottom six guy. I thought Ethan Bear is a beauty. I have no problem with them letting Adam Larson walk. Um,
Hmm.
they have Tyson Berry, which is another guy that hasn't really been Tyson Berry since leaving the Colorado Avalanche. Um,
Hmm.
but I should get back to what I was looking at that prospect. Um,
Oh my God. Like, yeah, they have a
Here it
lot of
is.
guys.
Xavier. Or sorry, no, that's not him. I lied. That guy's a forward. The guy I'm thinking of. So yes, Philip Broberg. Um, God, what the hell
Like
is?
I'm looking at some of the points that these guys have for Edmonton, and like after like it's pretty embarrassing, man. There's like Tyson Berry. After Tyson Berry, the closest guy, Tyson Berry has 28 points. The closest guy to him is Darnell Nurse with 18. Man, there's some
Yeah,
guys that play like big minutes. Like they're averaging like 16, 14 minutes a game. Like Puljujärvi's only got 8 points. Yamamoto's only got 8 points. Uh, Ryan McLeod's only got 8 points. Like Brett Kulak's got 8 points. Man, he plays defense and he's god awful. I hated Brett Kulak in Montreal.
I didn't mind him, and for the people I've talked to, he seems like a nice guy. But nice guys don't get you anything.
Nice guys
Um,
finish last, as they say.
as they say. But again, he's playing in the NHL, and I'm sitting here
We're
talking to
here.
you.
We're sitting here talking shit about him.
So, um, we will we'll move on from this division. We'll take a look at uh, I guess the other Western Conference division, which is the Central. You have the Dallas Stars in first, Winnipeg Jets in second, Minnesota Wild in third, Colorado Avalanche surprisingly in fourth, but they're sniffing around. And then it kind of drops off a bit. You got the St. Louis Blues, Nashville Predators really drops off. You got the Arizona Coyotes and the Chicago Blackhawks way down there. I don't even know if the Dallas Stars can see them.
Yeah, that's eight. They only have 8 wins, eh? Holy.
They have 8 wins, 4 OTLs. So what's that? 16,
It's 20 points, isn't it?
20 points. Yeah, I'm just really bad at math. So
Yeah,
20
hey, that's
20
what I'm here for.
20 points in 33 games. Yikes.
Like, they don't look good. I think I
Yeah,
do. Do you think they clean house like every? Do you think Tays goes and Kane goes, or do you think they both finish careers there?
no, I think they both leave.
Yeah, you think this year?
Yeah. Um, I think Patrick Kane has a higher chance of getting traded this season. Just because he's came out and said that he has the desire to win, and I think he still has a very high ceiling of being able to put up points. Again, I don't think he's still the guy that can generate his own offense or offense alone on his line. He's still a above average hockey player. He's a I'd say he's still a great hockey player, but I think he's going to need to go to another team that has another piece. Chicago's also going to have to be willing to eat cap, which I think they will be
They'll
comfortable
have to.
doing.
Have to.
But you look at the teams that are rumored to get him, and it's he's from the state of New York, and it's looked like Boston, which isn't too far in Massachusetts, the Rangers, and the Sabres. Um, I mean, I've also seen New Jersey out there, but I just don't see what New Jersey can give Chicago because I feel like New Jersey is a good young team. Like, what do you give to get Patrick Kane? And I feel like New York is willing to move guys and just say fuck it. Like I could see them honestly, just because we talked about rumored Rangers players that could be leaving or on their way out. Alexi Lafreniere or Capo Caco or Vitaly Krastov. Do
Yeah.
do one of those guys in a first make that happen if Chicago is willing to eat salary?
Like I think if they eat salary and they get that in return, I mean, at this point, with 8 wins, like your season's over. You're not playing to win.
Oh,
This
for
sounds
sure not, for
awful
sure
to
not.
like
But
like
I
I
think that's a good trade, and I think it's
yeah
not an
yeah.
unrealistic ask. Like I think Arizona's ask for Jacob Chikrin is still absolutely ludicrous.
Oh my god,
I wouldn't poke that with a stick.
Mike, I
Um,
can't believe that.
Especially for a defenseman that's been hurt so often in such a young career. I still think he's a great D man, but would I be willing to give that up without seeing full medical research and some physicals and actually see
Yeah,
him perform at a high level? No. If I was a contending team and they're all like, "Hey, give me a first and like a B or C prospect," I'd take a flyer on it. But two firsts and a prospect, or you know,
That's it. I think it's
two,
like two first, the prospect and a star player or something like that they
yeah,
want.
yeah, no, thank you. You keep him.
Like something insane like that. Yeah, you keep this. You keep that guy.
Yeah, that's a Gary Bettman ask because Gary Bettman still has a soft spot and a hard on for the Arizona Coyotes.
Yeah, it's the
Um,
mullet arena. I think that's why.
yeah, yeah, it's all the cheap college beers.
Yeah, all 5,000 fans.
Yeah, all 5,000 of them. I seen actually while we're talking a little off topic, but I seen there was a fight at Muller Arena a few weeks ago. Pretty
That does
wild.
not. Was
And
there
this
mullets
guy,
involved?
no, no, unfortunately not. They only had that promo for the first game of the year, but um, this guy's just fucking wailing on the guy in front of him, and Buddy's girlfriend gets in the way
Oh,
and just blinders on, right? Probably six or seven $3 beers each. Um, just smokes Buddy's girlfriend in the face. And I'm like, holy fuck. But she didn't go down. She took it like a champ. Good for her. Bad
hell
for
yeah.
him. But I mean, I'm not gonna lie and say that's not the first fight I've seen where in like a sporting thing, whether it's at a football game or baseball or college sports or whatever, where like buddies and some guys and a Tilly and his girlfriend gets a little too close and eats one. Um, and it won't be the last, I'll tell you that.
No. Oh God, no.
Um, but you want to step in the ring with the big boys.
You might get hit.
Got you might get hit. Be
And
careful.
sometimes,
Keep your head up,
it's the
kid.
girlfriend. Yeah, sometimes it's the girlfriend that antagonizes the fight, and then the boyfriend's like, "Well, I guess I have to fight
Yeah, there was actually one. It was a football one, and it didn't show the ending, but like Buddy's with his girlfriend, and she's just being lippy at a football game, and Buddy starts to like mouth off, and you can see the guys like to his girlfriend like, "Shut the fuck up! Like I'm the one that's gonna
now."
have to deal with
Yeah,
this. Like, why are you doing this to me?" Um, but anyways, that was off topic. But I do think to answer your question, Patrick Kane is a realistic guy to move in season. Jonathan Toews, I think if he's going to go anywhere, it'll be to the Winnipeg Jets. He'll go back home.
yeah,
But
I
I
like
see
it.
that being an off-season move. I think Winnipeg can also use that kind of leadership. Not to say that Blake Wheeler isn't a leader, but there's a reason why the C was stripped.
Hmm.
Um, in that dressing room, maybe bring some identity, some winning culture because they have a good team. Jonathan Toews has won 3 cups. He's played on, I believe, a couple gold medal winning teams for Team
Yeah,
Canada. So, I mean, I think that could be a fit. Again, Chicago eating a lot of money there. Maybe not 50%. Maybe Winnipeg's willing to go give them six instead of 10. So if it was like a 60
yeah,
40, and Chicago eats 40, I can see that maybe getting done. Um, but yeah, like I think that's more of like an off-season thing because I think Winnipeg would have to still move some stuff around to get that done. But I can see that being a good fit for them. As for a return in there, there's some guys that haven't really panned out for the Winnipeg Jets. Um, I'm gonna screw up this guy's name, but like Vassalainen, who just seems to have not made the team and like kind of back and forth, up and down. Maybe Chicago takes a flyer on him and a pick. Um, but I think that's, like I said, more of an off-season move.
yeah. And like you said too, you said Kane can make more of an impact. Like if he was on a line with some guys that he could keep, like the guys that keep up with him, he could still score goals. And I feel like Tays is the more, because he had that knee, again, knee injury. Is it last year or the year before?
I think it might be the year before. I think last year it may have been like a skin thing that he was out for. I don't
Yeah.
want to know
So
if it's like
so
skin
I
cancer or
yeah,
something. I don't know.
but I know
Um,
for sure like he's definitely slowed down compared to Kane. He's still great.
well,
I
for
still
sure.
think
I
Jonathan
think
Tays
Patty
fights it.
Kane can play top six. Jonathan Toews is maybe third
Top
line
six
shutdown
depends who he's
center.
yeah,
And
depends who he's
then
playing with.
if somebody gets hurt, he can play second line. But I see him being more of a leadership shutdown role. Put him in at the end of the game when you need to win a key face-off.
Oh yeah, he's
That
winning
kind of
99%
guy.
of that. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, he when it comes to impact in teams willing to pay a steep price, Patrick Kane is still there. Johnny Toews a little less. Um, but there's other pieces like is Seth Jones gonna want to put up with a rebuild in Chicago?
Mm, I don't think so.
Probably not. Like he's playing in his hometown. He's playing with his brothers on the team, but
That's
like
true, but
I don't know. If I was him, I'd probably be like, hey, if anybody calls and asks about me, I'm on the wave.
yeah, my bags will be packed.
Yeah,
Like just yeah,
but again, that's another defenseman that they've given a lot of money to,
yeah.
and I mean, and it's weird to say he looked very good in Columbus, not looking so good in
No, he doesn't look the same.
in Chicago. So I'm not really sure what he fetches and how much Chicago would have to eat for a team to take him on at that price. But good luck.
Yeah.
And again, that's
Great
to
stuff.
say if he wants to move and if they want to move him, we're just speculating at pieces that Chicago can turn around at the deadline. Um, I mean Nashville, I'm surprised they're not better up there. I mean UC Saros, great goaltender. Um, I'm a big fan of their lineup. I think they got a really deep team. Um, I'm surprised they're not doing better. St. Louis, I almost wish they were doing worse. Um, like I just can't stand Jordan Binnington's attitude.
No, dude, he's a douchebag. I'm sorry, but fuck that guy.
Like it just his attitude. Like I would obviously welcome him on the show, and I would kind of bring up like, hey, what was going
Why
through your
he's such a
head?
douchebag?
Yeah, well, what's going through your head on this example, this example, this example, this example, this example, this example, so on and so forth. And I mean, his coach has called him out on it. We'll see if that
Mm-hmm.
makes a difference because I think this is the first time that I've seen a team because he's obviously not the first shithead in the league. You know, alpha fucking I play Chell with a fucking dip in his mouth. Um, you know, there's guys with attitude problem. There's cocky guys. Most guys you don't see that translate on the ice. Like the last guy I can see pulling antics like this and running his mouth the way he does is Sean Avery.
Yep.
But Sean Avery was also not a starting goaltender for a contending team. Sean Avery was a bottom six fucking shit disturber, and that was his role. That's what you expected from
Yeah.
Sean Avery. This is not what you expect from a starting goaltender in this day and age of hockey. Like there's obviously chirps and there's stuff going back and forth the entire game that we're not privy to, we don't hear. But the fact
Mm-hmm.
that this guy's been in the news and stirs the pot and just as a dickhead
Yeah.
more often than not is scary to me. And it's like it's almost like the announcer Jack Edwards in Boston, where I think this guy is like one thing away from people being like, thanks, but no thanks. Um, and I
Well,
just
also one game he's gonna get hit. He's gonna get hit. Like he's gonna come out and he's gonna try and do that little shoulder check thing, and someone's gonna take him out, and he's
well,
gonna get hurt.
he tried to hit Jordan Stahl, and Jordan Stahl stood him up. And I
Yeah,
mean, the Stahl brothers are big boys, so I mean, kind of the
they're
wrong
big
person to
boys for
try and
sure.
hit. But it was kind of funny because like I seen the video, and Jordan Stahl just kind of like, "The fuck you trying to do? Like, really?"
Yeah,
And
yeah,
like, but I think he's gonna do that to the wrong tempered person.
yeah.
Like, I don't think he would be pulling this shit if Sean Avery was still playing in the league, if Matt Cook was still playing in the league, if Yorko Rutu was still playing in the league, Donald Brashear, George Laraque,
Biz,
like
biz
he wouldn't be
nasty.
doing that. Biz
Yeah,
Nasty,
yeah,
like I don't know. Like I just think he's get your shit together, stop pucks, shut your mouth, because he's a
yeah.
good goalie.
He's
And
great.
we talked last week with Adam Van Ettinger and Evan Lefebvre, and we did our mock Team Canadas, and Evan and I got the highest score, of course, but we both left off Jordan Binnington, and Canada doesn't have deep goaltending for the same reason, because Jordan Binnington has a personality issue.
Yeah.
I can see a legitimate Team Canada decision coming down to, we have, 2 weeks or 3 weeks together as a team. We need to gel as quickly as possible. And Jordan Binnington, you're not going to cut it because you're a dick.
Well, that's the thing too. Like I know it's obviously a long shot for like Team Canada, but he could make it. But if that comes to the point where Canada's like, look, we have this team, and are we gonna have this guy behind, like between the pipes for us when we know he's a dickhead? So like, as the team, we have to worry about every time the other team dumps it in, he's gonna body check somebody behind the bench, like behind the net, and then you know what I mean? Like it's
And
just
not
like
just that, but the
it's
repercussions of that, like, there's so many big bodies now. Okay, you get tuned, you get a conky, you're out. Your
yeah.
team's now out a starting goaltender, and they don't got Ville Husso backing up anymore. It's Thomas Greiss. And
Even better.
not even that. You break a clavicle.
Yeah.
You hurt your
You fall
groin.
weird.
You fall
You fall
exactly.
weird.
You
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 got
fuck up
pads
a
on,
you
dude.
fuck up a knee. Like,
Just like that, just because you're being an asshole.
yeah, like, to me, he has to look at the bigger picture, and I would be furious if I was a GM or a coach, and I'd probably be pissed if I was his agent and he's pulling shit
Yeah,
like this.
100.
Um,
percent
but anyways, all that to sum up, I wish the St. Louis Blues were doing worse, because I just cannot stand this guy's personality. The
Yeah,
Minnesota Wild doing great. I'm excited. I love watching that team. Kirill the Thrill, fun to watch. Big fan of Marc-Andre Fleury.
oh yeah,
I'm liking that Philip Gustafson's finally getting a chance. It looks like he's playing quite a few games for them. I'm surprised Colorado's taking a dip. Mind you, they've had quite a few injury issues. I mean, uh,
well their
Landeskog
2 star players are out. Yeah,
has been out all season. Nate McKinnon's been out as of late. Um, and Cale Makar, like, obviously having a above average for a defenseman season, but isn't looking as electric as Cale Makar of last season. And I mean, that might be just for the short summer that they had, obviously going to the Stanley Cup Finals, winning, party, 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 and then get to training camp and do it all over again. Like, it might just be that catching up to him. Um, I mean, goaltending, obviously, a big change as well. Not that Kemper was a 1A guy, because I don't think he is. Um,
no,
but Alex Gorgiev getting his first taste of being a starting goaltender. And then Pavel Francouz, who looked great his first year coming over from Europe, and then has kind of declined every year since, is showing that he can't really hold the net either. Um, so I think they got some question marks. I can see them being a team that also adds a goaltender at the deadline in rocking three. Um, but I mean, and a guy, just as I'm looking before we leave the Central, another team that has three goaltenders, and this guy's been in the minors, Anton Khudobin.
oh wow, I didn't. Wow,
Like, that's a name. And again, I don't
he's
know
in
what the
Colorado.
reason he is in the minors. No, he's with Dallas. He's with Dallas. They have Jake
And he's in the
Ottinger and
minors.
Scott Wedgwood, and they got Anton Khudobin in the minors. If Dallas is willing to eat some salary, I'm willing to take a flyer on Anton Khudobin coming up and stealing a couple games, because he did for Dallas and he brought them to the Cup final.
Wow.
I don't know.
Goalies always get the short end of the stick nowadays.
They do, but I mean, it's also like, having played goalie in multiple sports, it's like, you make a big save, you don't really see that stat, right? At the end of the day, you see one of, you have 32 saves out of 35 shots.
Yeah,
Okay, like, you're not going to talk about 32 saves.
yeah,
You let in one goal, though, everybody's looking, and that goals against average. Everybody's looking at that goals against, and they're all like, well, fuck, you let in three. Okay, well, I also faced 50 shots.
yeah.
Um, I mean, Anton Khudobin, I don't know what the reasons are in his minors. I haven't looked at his numbers, but I think that I mean, he can probably deserves another chance somewhere. Obviously, it's not going to be in Dallas.
Right.
But anyways, we'll move on from the Central. We'll look at the Metropolitan. We touched on them a little bit, so we won't stay there long. Columbus, I think, is doing a little worse than I thought they were. Philly, um, you know, close to the bottom sounds about right with that team. I feel bad for Carter Hart because he's a goaltender. Like normally goaltenders take long to progress. He's been fantastic other than the kind of that 1 year, but the team he's put in front of like dog shit Philly teams. So I mean,
Oh yeah,
you can't even say
yeah,
Carter Hart had a bad year. The entire Philadelphia Flyers have had 4 or 5 bad years.
yeah.
Um,
When he's averaging 35 saves a game,
well, yeah, and as a young goaltender, he's fine. I think he's Canada's future in nets.
yeah,
Um,
I agree.
but we're not going to talk about the Philadelphia Flyers. They got a lot of pieces they can trade off. Is Tortorella the guy to lead a rebuild? Probably not. I don't think he's going to see his duration on his contract. But yet, not many coaches in Philadelphia do. Alain
No,
Vigneault, Dave Haxtell, to name a few. Um, Peter Laviolette, another one. Love Peter Laviolette. Columbus, nobody wants to play in
dog
Columbus.
water.
Yeah,
No, they're
nobody wants to
awful.
play there. Yeah, it's like drinking hot dog water. Nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants to do it.
Don't tell don't tell
Um,
Phil Kessel that he'll go there quickly.
yeah, well, maybe they need a little Phil the Thrill.
Yeah,
Um,
who doesn't,
yeah, I mean, he's my spirit animal, that's for sure.
dude? I mean, the guy ate hot dogs out of the Stanley Cup, but you can't get any better than that.
No, a lot of people, I've seen spaghetti meatballs, I've seen some cereal, non-traditional thing eaten out of a bowl. I don't know anybody that eats hot dogs out of a bowl unless you're like cutting them up and putting them in like Alphagetti or Kraft Dinner, but beans and wieners maybe, but like just straight hot dogs out of the cup. It's weird flex for sure. The Islanders, I don't know why. I've just never liked the Islanders, so I'm okay with them missing the playoffs. I'm sure a lot of people think that they should be higher up in the standings, but I'm okay with where they are. Rangers, I wish were doing better. I guess I'm always just waiting, like, as long as I can remember back. And I feel like my longest hockey memory is probably like the 05 06 season, um, right after the lockout. And like that's when Ovi and Crosby came in. And I remember just since then, Pittsburgh, Washington being playoff teams. And I feel like the last like 5 years, I've just been waiting for a regression. I've been waiting for these teams to like dip out, and it's still not there. And I'm like, what's happening here? Like at some point, Sidney Crosby's going to start to regress. At some point, I mean, Ovi, you can see is regressing. He has a similar hairstyle to you. Um,
Yeah, he's got more money
he has more money, that is for sure.
than me, though. My
And
hair's
he
better.
and he has 802 more goals than you in his career.
Hey man, if it wasn't for that cold, I would have got.
Yeah, it wasn't for that cold in grade nine.
Yeah,
Adam Laderoute would have been at the back of everybody's Caps jerseys.
yeah, that's right.
Um, so I don't know. You're waiting for these guys to just like, is Ovi gonna have a 15 goal season at some point? Is Sidney Crosby gonna start taking some steps back? Like, and it's just not happening yet. And it's like until that happens, I think they're playoff teams.
Always, yeah, 100%.
Um, so I mean, the fact that the Caps, Rangers, Pens are kind of all hovering around the same spot, I think makes sense. The Devils, like I said, kind of a Cinderella story. I hope they continue. And Carolina, where they should be at the top of the standings.
Oh, so good.
If you have nothing else to say, I mean, we can move right into the Atlantic.
Yeah, like other than Carolina being 9-0-1 the last 10 games, that's just
Yeah, but they're another team. Like I feel like you look at that roster and they have great players through the lineup. Even their bottom six, I'm like, that's a good bottom six. That's good
yeah.
depth defense. And their goaltending's been phenomenal. Doesn't matter who you put in. Antti Ranta has won them games. Peter, whatever the fuck his last name is, has won them games. Or sorry, I think it's European, so Pitor.
Yeah, it was. Oh, yeah, yeah. It's
And then
Pioter.
Piotr. If
Yeah,
you're watching, I apologize, Piotr. And then Freddie Anderson coming back at some
yeah,
point. So
which
I
is
mean,
insane.
they're set. They're set. They're a great
Yeah,
team. And I thought a few seasons back, like, oh, what are they doing trading Dougie Hamilton? They're fine. They've been fine.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so
I agree.
whatever, it's worked for them. continue going. I love watching them play. I love the Kane surge. Didn't really like the Don Waddell, Tom Dundon offer sheet to Kotkaniemi. Not because I like Kotkaniemi, I just found it petty. And if you're going to waste your money, there's better ways to waste it. There's numerous charities I can send your way.
Yeah.
Not to say that giving the money to charity is a waste. I'm just saying if you're willing to
Yeah, I
throw
know what
that
you mean.
kind of
Don't
money
worry.
away, do some good with it. Um, anyways, moving on to the Atlantic, uh, the Boston Bruins atop of the standings. I had them finishing second. I did not have them being as commanding as they are. They have 4 regulation losses all season. That's fucked.
That's wild. That's absolutely insane. I didn't know Boston. I didn't even know Boston was playing that well this year.
Yeah,
Like I pay attention to
they have they have
some of their
3
games, but
OTLs. One of them coming against the Senators a couple nights ago in a shootout, but just 4 regulation losses. And I don't know what their home record is now, but at some point they had 0 regulation losses at home, and it was like
that's
recent.
bonkers.
I don't know if that's even lost yet. They may still be at 0 regulations lost at home. But looking, the Leafs in second, I had them in third. That's pretty much the same. Tampa's the only one um, that's kind of doing not as good. But I mean, again, if Boston's not having this crazy freak of a season, Boston, Tampa, Toronto are probably all hovering in that same space. Um, and then you got kind of a tier back, the Red Wings, who are taking a jump forward from being basement dwellers. Shout out to your cousin Chase Pearson
Yeah.
in the Detroit Red Wings farm.
Organization. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, good for him. I think he's, for a little period of time there when there was Kenny Holland and Christ, who was the coach after Babcock? Um,
Oh.
God, I forget his name. But for a little while there, it was murky waters. But then once Stevie Y came in and they brought in
Mhm.
Derek Lalonde, I think they're laughing. It's a great time to be a Detroit Red Wing player and prospect. I think you have the right guys in the helm there. I was talking to Chris Draper a little bit at the World Junior A Challenge. He had some good things to say about the organization, so I think everything's looking up there. Sabres, we talked about earlier. We're not going to get back into that. Florida has been a big disappointment this year, much to the chagrin of the Habs fans because we have their first round pick and it's unprotected.
Yeah.
So you go, Glenn Coco, keep fucking playing like shit. Um, bring Daddy a nice first round pick.
Yeah. Don't we have another? Is that the pick from the Flames?
I believe we have the Flames first, but is it this year? I want to say it's like a
I'm not sure.
2025 first.
That's fine. I'm okay
But
with that.
but I think I no. So we have 2 first round picks this year, and we had 3 last year. But I think I mean we're gonna move Joel Edmondson. You're gonna move David Savard. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Sending those good vibes out there. Trade David Savard. Trade David Savard. Um, and potentially other pieces if they stay healthy. Armia, Hoffman, maybe Joe Drouin, Jake Allen. Like there's pieces to move. Depending to the right team. And depending on the contract, you can fetch some nice returns. So I can see them adding easily another first round pick at the deadline. I mean Ottawa not doing as well as I thought. I definitely thought Florida and Ottawa would be higher than Detroit and Buffalo, but this to me is the best division in hockey. And I might be biased because I like a few of the teams in this division and Montreal being my favorite team, but I don't know, just organizationally, I think the Detroit Red Wings are going to be a team to compete with. The Sabres, Florida in a non blimp or whatever you want to call it, hiccup on the record books. Ottawa's going to be a good team. Toronto's still young. Tampa's good, but they're getting older. Boston's getting older. This might be one of their last hurrahs. But like this is going to be a good division for many years to come, and I think probably the most competitive and even throughout. Um, But that being said, I mean, if you don't have anything to add, we can leave the standings. And we got a couple more things we want to talk about before we wrap up. Uh, do we want to get into the World Juniors? You know what the score is right now?
I turned it off. It was 4-0 Canada, 7
Four,
nothing at the end of the.
7-0. I predicted 6-0, so
I mean,
almost right.
yeah, I don't understand it. Like, we go from losing to Czech Republic, and Sweden beat Czech Republic today.
But you know what? Like when we were covering the World Junior A Challenge, Canada West looked better than every team out there. They finished
Mm-hmm.
first in their division. And then they lose the semifinals to Canada East, who finished fourth. And then they lose the bronze medal game to Sweden. And I think it's just in tournaments like this, guys aren't looking at favorites. Guys aren't looking at um, who's playing on the other team. And it's laid out on the line every single game. And if you're playing with that mentality, it's dangerous because anybody can step up, just like you've seen the Czech goalie step up. Um, and, I think Canada kind of got caught with their pants around their ankles in game one because they probably were a little overconfident. I don't think they were expecting the
Very.
Czechs to come out like that. And I think you've seen it, and I have nothing against flashy goals, but trying a couple Michigans whenever you're down, I mean, that's something I think you do whenever you're up like 4 or 5-0. You want to kind of fuck around and find out, but
Yeah. Yeah.
not whenever you're losing. And I don't know, like to me, that's just how I
No.
feel. Um,
Yeah, and like I said earlier too, like European hockey isn't a joke anymore, man. Canada's not
no,
going to go to these tournaments and just walk all over teams anymore. It's not going to happen
well,
because
look at Montreal. Two of their first round picks last year come from Slovakia,
yeah,
and pretty sure they upset the States today.
yeah, they did. They beat
Yeah.
them 5-2 or
So
5-3 or something like that.
yeah. So there is no. I think there's obviously always going to be favorites, and any team that has, Connor Bedard on it, Shane Wright, and some of the other names on that Team Canada roster, Dylan Gunther, they're
Mm,
going to be like, okay, wow, they got that star power. But like I said, whenever you have the balls to the wall mentality and you're giving it all for your country every game, anything can happen, and that's the beauty of these tournaments.
yeah, yeah. That's only the second time that Czech Republic's beaten Canada since the World Juniors ever started.
Well, obviously, Canada learned their lesson because they pumped Germany and no, sorry, they pumped Austria.
Yeah,
Now they're pumping Germany, or is it vice versa?
no, vice versa. They pumped Germany yesterday, and they're
Yeah, they
in the
pumped
middle of
Germany
pumping.
and they're in
Yeah,
the middle of pumping Austria.
yeah,
It'll
they're
be
mid pump.
interesting, when it comes to the kind of playoff rounds of this, how they square up against a team like the U.S. that also has quite a bit of star power, or
Yeah.
Sweden, who has a very good team. I mean, just talking to the Swedes at the World Junior A Challenge, like just great people and fucking hell of
Mhm.
hockey players, and
Oh,
they
they don't
love
stop
it. And
skating.
I don't know what it is. Like, I know Canadians and Americans have a lot of patriotic pride, but watching the European teams, even Team Latvia, who got eliminated in the prelims of the World Junior A Challenge, just the willing to almost like I got the vibe that I was like these guys are willing to go to war for their country. Like they're willing to like lay it on the line, body, blood, sweat, and tears for their country. And like I just don't get that vibe whenever you're watching the US and the Canada unless they're playing each other. I just don't get that feeling.
Mhm.
But
No, I agree. I 100% agree.
um I mean we'll see how the rest of the tournament plays out. It's still early, so I mean,
Yeah, they
obviously
have
not in
to.
this
Well, they
game.
have
I
no.
think it's normally they say the 2 goal lead is the worst. I'm not sure what they say about 7-0, but I'm pretty sure that one's pretty safe. Um,
Yeah, I think so.
but I guess we'll see. And I mean, good luck. I guess the rest of the way we'll have to check back in next week and see where they are uh,
Yeah.
at that point. Two more things before we leave. The Winter Classic. It's in Boston. It's at Fenway Park this year. Great ballpark.
Dynamite.
But does it seem to you that every fucking year it's either the New York Rangers, Buffalo Sabres, Chicago Blackhawks, Boston Bruins, Pittsburgh Penguins, and Washington Capitals. It's like a rotation of those 6 teams. Maybe throw Philly in there a couple times, playing
Yeah.
in these winter classics. And then like they almost have this try hardness of okay, like let's get Anaheim versus LA and play on fucking Muscle Beach, like
Yeah.
no, like
What was it?
that's
Well, where was it last year when the ice fell apart? Was that last year or 2 years ago?
I don't remember, but like let's get Minnesota or let's get I don't know, like Winnipeg. Like let's get like a
Buffalo.
well, we've done Buffalo. Buffalo's in it quite often. Like let's get the Islanders. Let's get New Jersey. New Jersey sees snow.
Let's get teams that don't
Like
do it.
I'm not even
Yeah.
saying it has to be in there. Almost do like a Field of Dreams thing where you look at they've kind of built this stadium with this cool background. Like Minnesota's known for their lakes and for their kind of beautiness. Like you're telling me you can't there's no stadium or arena or thing that you can build out in Minnesota with a cool like mountain backdrop for like an afternoon game. Like I feel like there's just some missed opportunities here, and I get using a stadium that's already established, but like there has to be an arena somewhere or a ball diamond or a football stadium in another
Oh
city
yeah.
that you can bring 2 teams to. Obviously, if you look at like Chicago, you go to like Bear Stadium, you go to Wrigley Field, whatever. Obviously, you're going to use the hometown team, but there has to be a neutral place they can play a hockey game and bring 2 outside teams. Columbus sees fucking snow. I mean, I know Detroit has been in quite a few classics, but like I don't know, like to me there's other I'd like to see a more bigger variety team. Carolina could get in there. I'd like to see Tampa. Like Tampa's a fucking powerhouse team. How have they not played in the Winter Classic? And like I said, bring it to a neutral venue. Bring it to
Mhm.
fucking I don't even know, like Pennsylvania has 2 teams already, but like there's places you can bring it. Play a game outdoors at Lake Placid. Get
Yeah.
like
Oh, it's gonna be dynamite.
Rangers versus Islanders, Lake Placid, or
Oh,
Buffalo versus one
dynamite.
of those two. You can't lose there. You do an outdoor game, Minnesota versus fuck, I don't know who a Minnesota rival is, but you Dallas, Minnesota in actual winter climate. Uh, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know if Seattle gets snow. They probably do. I mean, they might be a little new to try and throw, but they have an MLS and a baseball team. They have a football
Yeah.
team as well. They have the stadiums. Do an outdoor Seattle Vancouver. Get that rivalry going.
Yeah, they said I saw. I must could have been something just people screwing around on the internet, but I saw Seattle and Vegas. They want to do Seattle and Vegas. I mean, it's a cash grab. If it's true, it's just
They're two
kind of the
expansion
investment. But
teams. Like I don't know.
yeah,
But I don't know. To me, there's do some neutral, cool venues. That's
yeah,
my suggestion for the Winter Classic.
it's the same thing every year.
It is, and it's like I
Same
said,
thing
it's the
every
same
year.
teams, and all the fucking jerseys look the same because there's only so much you can do with the Pittsburgh Penguins. There's almost so much you can do with the Boston Bruins. There's only so much you can do with the Philadelphia Flyers. Like Philadelphia only has 3 fucking colors: orange, black, white. There's only so much you
Yeah,
can do with that one logo in those 3 colors. And I love those 3 colors, and I love Philly jerseys, but like
they're
c'est la
running out
même
of ideas.
affaire. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
and like I
they're gonna
was
start wearing freaking jumpsuits soon.
joking with last week, it was saying like it's pretty much whoever the free intern is for the summer gets to decide who the Winter Classic is, decide what all the reverse retro jerseys are, and it's almost like somebody that's just like, oh, I don't want to fucking screw up and get fired, so I'm just gonna do what the last guy did because that seemed to work. And it's like it's the
Yeah,
same thing over and over again where they get in there and like I don't know who it is, Gary Bettman, Bill Daly, whatever. They're like, okay, so what'd you do, Connor? And Connor's sitting there like,
yeah,
okay, well, I think maybe like Rangers Pittsburgh,
yeah,
and they're all like, yeah, good job, Connor. And Connor's like, okay,
yeah. Good.
thanks.
Yeah, it's already been booked. Don't worry.
Yeah, yeah, we were just testing you, but good job.
Yeah, yeah. It's exactly it. Like I said. It's just I think it's the same thing every year, and it's I don't know. To me, I don't even watch the Winter Classic anymore because it's like you said, it's the same thing every year, same teams. You get bored of
in
it,
same
right? Like it was
venues. It
supposed
is.
to be.
It's
It was, it
boring
was
at this
supposed. It was
point.
supposed to be something really cool. Like when they started the first time, I remember when they did the first game. Like
Or
and
even
like
even switch it up, and you don't even have to do like do the All-Star game outside.
that'd be cool.
That 3-on-3 tournament, do it
Hmm.
outside.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
Just a thought. Who
yeah.
am I?
NHL, yeah, NHL hit style.
Yeah. And the last thing we'll touch before we wrap things up, um, Alexander Ovechkin passing Gordie Howe for second all time on the goal scoring list. Uh, Obviously, he's going to continue playing until he beats Wayne Gretzky. At this
Yeah.
point, he's so close. But um, how long do you think he gets there? Like, let's say he gets 40 this year. You know,
I
he's
mean,
still a
like
decent amount away. Like, are we talking like another 2 seasons after this one? I think at least.
at least two, at least two.
Because he looks so slow out there. Like his shot hasn't changed. And that's the same thing. I'm sure if you put Gretzky or you put Paul Coffey or whatever out there, they can still snipe. Valerie Bure, Pavel Bure,
Oh,
they're still
Valerie.
scoring.
Yeah.
But he just can't keep up anymore. And that's what I'm saying.
No,
Forget
he's
about
no.
defense. Just put him out there, empty net. Every time there's an empty net, throw Ovi out there, get him the
Yeah,
goal.
yeah. Stand
Because
the
I
opposite
think
blue line.
as
Just
soon as
stand
he
there.
passes that, as soon as he passes Gretzky, he's heading over the KHL.
Yeah, he's done.
100%.
Yeah,
He's done.
he'll go home. Yeah, he'll go
Yeah.
home. Yeah, yeah. I agree. Well, I was at the game in Ottawa when he passed Mark Messier
Okay.
in goals, and he had two goals that game. One top the circle slap shot, power play goal,
Classic
obviously.
Ovi. Yeah.
Yeah, and then an open net goal. But his first shift of the game was 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, that's scary.
He sat at the opposite blue line for a
Well,
good minute and just
no,
waited there.
exactly. That's what I was gonna say. It
You
was
know,
2 minutes, but maybe like 30 to 40 seconds of work. Um,
not even, man, not even.
Very cool. One of the first games, actually, I think it was my fiance's first NHL game, and I brought her to it. It was Montreal, Washington, and Montreal, and he passed the Rocket at that game.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
yeah, so it was really cool, and they put something up on the scoreboard. It was cool. Um, I mean, he's
Yeah.
going to pass Gretzky. I think Gretzky knows he's going to pass Gretzky, bearing,
Mm.
knock on wood, a freak injury that he can't play anymore. And even at that, I think he would fucking try. Um,
Oh, I think he will too. I don't think he's going to stop playing the NHL until he beats that record.
yeah. Well,
He's won everything. That's the only thing he has left. That's the only
exactly.
thing he has
That's
left.
as a goal scorer, yeah, he's won everything. He's won his cup. He's won the Rocket
Uh,
countless
yeah,
times. You know, there's nothing else
yeah.
except for passing this record. And I was reading a couple things online, guys saying like it's going to be weird to have a Russian, hold, the all-time leader in games played, and that's why. To me, the NHL is
Yeah.
the league where the best players from around the world play. And there's a
Yeah.
reason, and again, I'm not taking anything away from the European leagues, but guys that dominate in the Dell, that dominate in Liga, that dominate in the KHL come over here, and they're middle of the pack guys with certain exceptions, like Alexander Ovechkin, like Artemi Panarin.
Mhm.
It's for a reason. This is the best league in the world with the top end players,
Yeah.
and guys are just you're playing with the best of the best. And I don't look at it as Alexander Ovechkin from Russia. I look at Alexander
No.
Ovechkin from the Washington Capitals. I don't associate
Yeah.
guys with their
Exactly.
nation unless they're playing international hockey. And the NHL isn't international hockey. You're playing for a city. So I think I will forever remember Wayne Gretzky with the Edmonton Oilers, despite him playing with the Rangers, despite him playing with the Kings and the Blues.
Mhm.
I think of him as an Edmonton Oiler. I think of Sidney Crosby as a Pittsburgh Penguin. Connor McDavid will be an Edmonton Oiler.
Mhm. Carey Price will be a Montreal
Barry
Canadian.
Price will be a Montreal Canadian. But Alexander Ovechkin is a Washington Capital, and he will be the all-time leader in goals scored as a Washington Capital. Not, yeah, he is from Russia, but he is a Washington Capital.
Yeah, and it's wild that we've watched that happen. We watched him get drafted, and now we're going to watch him beat the record.
Crazy. And I feel like like everybody said, and how long was Gretzky's record untouched? But like I'm sure your dad and your stepdad and your I don't know if your brother's old enough to like say they remember watching Gretzky in his prime or even when he was
Yeah.
still dominant. But like, you know, oh, there's never going to be a player like that again. And I'm sure, you're going to tell your kid the same thing where it's like, yeah, I watched this guy play. I've
Hmm.
been to games in person where I've seen this guy just, I want to fucking score a goal, and he goes out and scores a goal,
Yeah.
and he had fun doing it because I don't think he was, obviously you have to be in shape to play in this league, but like he was never like jacked fit, like fucking walking around six pack. Like
No, he drinks Dr. Peppers on the bench.
the guy's having a good time, scoring
Yeah.
goals, playing with his fucking Russian buddies. Like
Yeah.
that's all the guy
And
wants.
drinking Dr. Pepper. Like, what
Drinking
else can you
Dr.
ask for?
Pepper, swinging his big
That
dick
sounds like
around
a
in the
great time.
nation's
Yeah.
capital. Like
Yeah.
the guy's a
Making a lot of
beauty,
money.
making
Like,
a
what
lot
else
of
do you need?
money. You don't
Yeah.
need anything. And you know
No.
what? Like, good for him. It was fun to watch, and I mean, it'll be fun to watch him break this record. And whoever comes for it next will be just as fun. I don't think the next goal scorer like that is in the league right now, or is even somebody that were mentioned being drafted. Like Connor McDavid, I think is more of a Sidney Crosby type player. Like
Yeah.
he'll rack up a lot of
Over,
points, but
over.
like
Yeah.
he's not a selfish guy that he's like, give me the puck, I'm gonna score, I want to score, I want to score, I want to
Mhm.
score. Like Ovi from a young age, probably coming into the NHL was like, I want to beat this record. Like I'm gonna beat
Mhm.
this. But it'll happen eventually. And we'll
Yeah.
wrap it up here. Adam, I thank you for coming on. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I would
Of
definitely have you
course.
back on. Um, we'll we have a little goodbye video to play after this for Justin, and then we'll get into 5 minutes for fighting with Corey Payment and Paul Shantz, our third installment of that. And next week we take on Jeremy Roenick, JR, and we should have a good time with that. Adam, hope to have you back soon, and take care.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, man. Anytime you need me.
All right, beauty. Thanks, buddy.
Was there anybody that was a shit disturber, not knowing that they couldn't back it up, knowing that like they had Paul or Pat or one of the other tough guys there to back them up?
I don't think we had a weasel on our team. I'm trying to think, Corey. We guys got into the I don't know. I don't think we had a like that type of guy. I'm trying to think maybe most of our guys, even our good players like Denny Lamoureux, Pat Duras, who else we had
Martin at a whack.
yeah, those guys could go to war. That they didn't need anybody to defend them. Like, I mean, they wouldn't drop the mitts, but they were feisty type of players. So we didn't. I don't think we had. I'm trying to think if we had anybody that was that took advantage really of the fact that they were on a tougher team, but I don't think so. I don't remember anyway. Maybe Corey could help us out, but I don't think we had that type of guy.
No, I can't
I don't
remember
think so.
that team didn't. We didn't. I don't know if we wanted a weasel. We didn't need a weasel. We were gonna
Yeah, we
start.
didn't.
We were gonna start it no matter what. Like
Yeah,
Pat, if not our best player, and if you were ready to go, he could throw both hands. He
yeah,
was, and
yeah.
if your top player wanted to fight Pat Duras, hey, I'm ready to go. Let's go. I
Oh yeah,
He's not going to fight a heavyweight, but your best
yeah.
player, my best player, he's ready to fight, and he
Oh
can.
yeah. I'd put my money on Pat for sure.
Yeah, he could throw it well. I remember he fought quite a bit actually when you guys got to Akwesasne. Uh,
Yeah.
he fought quite a few times.
Oh yeah. No,
Yeah.
Pat could go for sure.
So I don't know if you guys remember. At one point, your coach got suspended, and I think it
Which
was
which one was it? Pierre or was it
Pierre. Yeah,
Ronaldo
Pierre
or
Rush.
Pierre Rushmore? Yeah, yeah.
So he got suspended, and I don't know if it's the owner, but this fucking big guy looked like he was part of the mafia, but probably one of the dumber ones in the mafia. He's wearing his leather coat and a headset behind the bench. and I think Pierre's telling him what to say and what to do from up in the press box.
With the headset. I can't remember that. Was that the championship year or the year before?
It was in the championship year, and I want to say it was in the playoffs.
Oh, wow. With a headset.
Yeah, he had like a little, looks like a little Xbox headset. And
no, I can't.
It couldn't have been in the playoffs. It might have been before, because he made the coaching change.
Yeah, Mike Lorando with Maurice LeMay came in.
Maurice LeMay came in. So
before the playoffs. It might have been during the season.
Yes.
I can't remember though.
I think I know who he's talking about, but it could have been Lacoste behind the bench the one game.
Oh, you think he coached? I don't remember Steph coaching.
He could have been behind the bench.
Yeah, this is a big guy.
That's
guy.
funny.
He had his leather coat and jeans on. Like, he looked so out of place.
Oh, I
can't.
can't.
You would see him hold the headset like this. Somebody was talking to him, and then he would say something on the bench. But he did not look like a coach. Guy didn't look like he owned a pair of skates.
Oh, I don't know, but man,